Giwa, not owned by government. We are going to be having Nembe, not owned by government. But 80% of these clubs, or 90%, owned by government. Now, government clubs have to be divested by 30% of government shareholding by the commencement of the 2014-2015 season. That's going to be a requirement to register for the 2014-2015 season. So government must begin to gradually hands off sole ownership.
How do you do this?
Of clubs.
Talking about registration of government clubs or turning them into private companies.
Even if it is not a private company, do not the government partnership.
What I'm saying
public, private,
it's something that to do with the state assembly sometimes. Because this club,
yes,
government cannot do it by fias.
Yes,
you have to go through because all of this club are government property. And when you say I'm changing this club to a private owned company or what, the House of Assembly will ask you, okay, this is a government club. Who under whose name are you signing this deal? Who owns the club?
Before you became a governor, the club was there.
So after the club is still there. For which you will go. Some of them will go through the state assembly,
of course,
because the commissioner of sport cannot just
whatever process it needs to go through. But we have realized that government ownership of clubs is not really the future.
It's not the future,
because this has government is struggling to even meet up.
The bottom line in all of this is that these measures would test our love for the game in Nigeria. These measures will test
our love for the long-term growth
of football
in Nigeria.
Our sincerity.
That's the bottom line. And I hope by the end of March, when all of this is expected to take place, I hope to see all the clubs being able to abide by all this. Nandi talked about some situations that you could get in ideal, in an ideal, if the scenario was ideal. But now, I support all of these measures, not because it is right, because some of it seems to be infringing on some rights, so to speak, but we need something drastic to turn things around in this country. And one of the ways of keeping your best players is to create a conducive environment for them to stay. You rarely see South African players, in fact, some South African players that are not based in South Africa find it hard to break into the national team. That is the way it is. So, I mean, when the players who play in the country don't feel inferior, and these are one of the ways that we get us to that point. They're properly paid.
Properly remunerated.
You take care of your responsibilities, feed your families. You're not being owed money. You're not treated like a slave. You don't go on strike to get your salaries. And all of these things will take us to that point. And I'm hoping that clubs that government have a stranglehold on will allow some private individuals to
divest those shares.
You understand?
Bring them in.
Bring in new ideas.
Talk about the process it will take. Some will have to go to the.
That's why I said it's going to test
assemblies.
It's going to test our sincerity. It's going to test and the love for the game.
All right, we'll see. For me, something that I want to see in the new season has to be television coverage of games. If TV cannot come to your game, then go and play where TV can pick your game.
Yes, simple.
And I think that's one of the reasons why the LMC and the clubs have resolved to increase television coverage of matches.
Very critical.
And also, where TV does not get to for live coverage, cameramen must be protected like center referees.
Unhindered access.
Unhindered. Well, I mean, we have seen a lot of cases where cameras have helped us to resolve a lot of issues.
Yes.
I hope to see that in the new season.
Yes. Very key.
So we just have accusations flying around.
This key security at match venue is the responsibility of the clubs and the host FA. You have to do that, and you have to ensure that
increase TV coverage.
So that you don't have
protection of cameramen, particularly. A lot of them were beaten in the last season. I hope that doesn't happen in the new season, so that we can see.
Let's underline unhindered access, because we've seen situations where you say you are not supposed to be here, you didn't get accreditation, you didn't get clearance, all of these things.
You have get proper accreditation.
No. You should. But some of those things can be turned around and used against you. So all of those things should not be bottlenecks. Once people do what they should do, they should be allowed access that is due them, so that accusations don't just fly around. There's always video evidence to help us resolve
a lot of issues.
So you don't have two club chairmen, for instance, come on Sports Tonight and trading words.
And they tell us exactly the opposite. This one tells us this was what happened.
And this one tells us
another one says the exact opposite that happens. And you don't have evidence.
But when you have pictures, if you know you are the defaulter, you won't even bother.
You will
just keep quiet.
Because wait for the law to descend on
exactly.
You. All right. We hope. I mean, we love to talk about the Nigerian league, really, to promote the players. But we hope that all of these things will be in place so that it helps us to do a better job of promoting the stars in the league and, of course, domestic football in Nigeria. Dumnodi, in a couple of weeks, the Premier League pre-season, the Global Premier League pre-season will be taking place in Abuja. Let's quickly run through the fixtures for you of the pre-season tournament for 2013-2014 season, involving the 4 clubs that will represent us on the continent. From January 24, Enyimba will kick off against Bayelsa United, 2 p.m. And I think it's going to be at the Abuja National Stadium. National Stadium, so. Yeah. It's a big place. The grass is okay. And we'll be seeing top quality football. Then Kano Pillars will be taking on Warri Wolves. That's the second game of the day at 4 p.m. 2 days after, that's on the 26th of January, Enyimba will be taking on Warri Wolves. First game of the day, Bayelsa will be confronting Kano Pillars in the second game of the day. And then the final day of the pre-season, Warri Wolves against Bayelsa, 2 teams in Nigeria's CAF Confederations Cup campaign. And then the final game, surely the biggest of it all, Enyimba against Kano Pillars. Of course, Abuja National Stadium. So January 24 to 26, Abuja will be agog for the top 4 clubs, not top 4, the 4 clubs representing us on the continent, and we hope that the quality of football will justify all of these hype. And we're told it will be live on TV, on Super Sports, and because of how magnanimous they've been, we will also be able to get the highlights to you via Super Sports on Sports Tonight, and of course on our different sports shows. So that's it for the league. We'll go on a quick break now. Let's go to South Africa and Chan. When we return, we'll talk about the games played today. We'll talk about the Super Eagles back in action tomorrow, our expectation. We will also talk tennis before we wrap it up on Sports Tonight this Tuesday.
So let's have a look at how things happened here today. It has been a great day for Ghana football. See there, Yahaya was the man who created the first chance. This is the goal, how the goal came about. Look at this. Managed to get in there against 2 players. And then it was Anzwana got on, and the ball just, Anzwana rather, the ball going over and beating the goalkeeper there, Muyaki. No chance there, Anova. Celebrating with his countrymen and fans that have come here to watch the beautiful game in the Orange African Nations Championship for 2014 here in South Africa. So the opening goal of Group C, and that's how the goal was scored by Ghana. And tuning again with those particular chance that was scored there, and the celebration from the bench said it all, because there was 1, 2 or 3 chances they created before that, and they finally did manage to find the back of the net. So in the second half, it looks like Congo had to come up with something, and that was the first shot taken in the second half from Bibinde, who did nothing in the first half, finally getting a chance to score and putting the ball over the crossbar, with the goalkeeper coming on through. And there was this chance here created by Eman Nkoduya's free kick. Nkunku rather taking a shot there, Moish Nkunku. And pushing the ball away was a goalkeeper for a corner kick. And overall corner kicks here for Congo were 7 at the end of the game. The ball was trying to find the ball, so a gap between the goalkeeper and the near post, Stephen Adams. And Stephen Adams managed to put the ball away. And there was a corner kick that could have resulted in the goal as well for Congo. This was nicely set up in the penalty area by Davi Monokele. See that particular one was played to the far post, and needed a direct header into goals, but he put the ball over the crossbar. Dua Ankira, Ntona Kulu. So that's how it finished off overall in a game here between Ghana and.
All right, that was Ghana beating Congo in their first game at the African Nations Championship taking place in South Africa. Let's quickly take a look at the results of games played today. Today we concluded first round of matches across the 4 groups. So every team in the tournament has played at least a game now. We're waiting for the second round of games starting from tomorrow. Today we had Congo DR beating Mauritania 1-0. We had Gabon and Burundi